much more fun. You know that only the good die young. Oh, baby, I tell you, only the good die young. Only the good die young.
It is 9:20 on this 10th day of May right here in the heart of the Riverbend. That is downtown Alton. Hey, my internet came back on. How cool is that? Shannon Stelling on the line now. Home builders and remodelers of the Metro East. Good morning, Shannon. Oh, Shannon, I did that to you again. I had you muted.
Hi, CJ.
Oh, Shannon, I do that to everybody. I have a great lead-in, you know. I'm feeling the music, have Billy Joel playing for you, a great lead-in, and I forgot to hit the, unmute button.
It happens.
So, really appreciate your time this morning, Shannon, and take us through, just if you could, give us some insights and fill me in on the home builders and remodelers of the Metro East as a whole.
Well, the Home Builders Remodelers Metro East Association is an association that works with our builders in the community, all the way from Jerseyville, Illinois, down to Carroll, Illinois. And we work with builders, we work with electricians, plumbers. The whole purpose of our association and organization is threefold. One is to have a voice in our state and local and national government on items and things that affect the home building industry. And our goal is to always make housing affordable. That is a win for the builders, and that is a win for the consumer. So we're out there fighting behind the scenes every day. In fact, this morning we just had a bill come across our desk that was a really big deal, that we had to make sure everybody got out there and filled out witness slips and had their voices heard at the state level before this bill is voted on this afternoon. And it's to benefit consumers and builders both alike. And we're open to builders, plumbers, electricians, or mortgage companies. There's many, many different members of our association that represent the overall housing industry. In some way or another, they're involved in the housing industry. And we're a not-for-profit organization, and we are the voice of that community, so to speak.
What? It seems like, you guys have a very important role. And I got to ask you just right off the bat, how many members do you have, if you could ballpark it, in your organization?
Here in our chapter, around 250. Wow. We're the largest in the state of Illinois. We even beat out Chicago. So
that's impressive. Hey, we finally won one. Yeah, we got one on Chicago.
Exactly. It's a very active organization. It's a big organization. Our members are very involved. They're very engaged, and they truly want to make a difference in the industry. And we work with the unions. We work with non-union. We go both ways across the board there, and our voice is important as a whole, fighting for, again, the housing industry and then also the trades industry. Yeah. One of our big platforms this year is really pushing the trades in the schools, and we're working with a grant that was provided to the state of Illinois through an organization called TAKE, and putting kids to work right out of high school with many of our members' companies, and the grant pays their salaries. That's another benefit of being a member of the Home Builders Remodelers Association. So, go ahead.
Well,
go ahead, DJ.
It's just, not to cut you off, I mean, that's just huge, because, I mean, time and time again, I feel like, and this is coming from somebody who's been a part of, the trade business. My family owned and rigged and sewer service for, over 50 years. Mm-hmm. And I tell people, to me, I think we always cast the shadow on trade schools, but I know so many kids that have, that are my age, Shannon, that have gone to trade schools and doing a hell of a lot better than I am right now, because they learn that skill, and it's so crucial.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And it's unbelievable how much is not known about the income opportunity available in the trades. Another role that the Home Builders Remodelers Association played that's a very important role is working with our United Contractors Council, and we were part of the new union contract negotiations this year. And there's a package put together, and this isn't the exact numbers yet, but it's close, that a kid coming out of high school that goes into the trade program program with our contractors, with the contractors union, is they can earn around $65,000 package.
Oh, wow.
That's incredible. I mean,
Wow.
and it's not every kid is meant to go to college. It's just not for everybody. Not that college is a bad thing, but it's a great alternative. Another thing to talk about that, CJ, that I'll mention is there's a bill, there's actually a law that the public is probably not very aware of yet, but in the school year 2028 and 2029, there's a new law that's going into effect where every student in the state of Illinois to graduate from high school in Illinois is going to be required to take 2 years of foreign language. Now, most people might think, well, that's not a bad thing, but let's peel it back, okay? If you have to take 2 years of foreign language and you have no intent on going to college, that then eliminates some of the opportunity you may have to take trade classes like construction or welding or nurse's aid or early childhood. So that's an example of something we're in the process of working with a couple of our local representatives, and it's a bipartisan approach. Katie Stewart and Katie Eilick, a Republican and a Democrat, we're working with them to say, let's get an amendment to that bill. Let's get it to where you have the choice to take 2 foreign languages or take trade classes so that it can fit the narrative for all students and not force everybody to do what you need just to go to college. So those are some of the examples of some of the activities and the things that we work on here at the HBR. And there's tons of benefits for our members too. They get discounts on a national level because they're part of this association, because remember, we're local, we're state, and we're national.
Wow.
The National Home Builders Association out of Washington, D.C. is huge, and they support all of our efforts.
Well,
I could go on and on,
no,
TJ.
I mean, I'm just blown up. I wasn't going to cut you off because I thought, this is just incredible. And the thing is that I love about this, Shannon, is I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think a lot of people are like me that we're learning about this going, why did we not know about a lot of this sooner, or, know more about this organization sooner? And I'm telling you what, I love that with the bill, because you're right. Everyone needs to have the choice. Okay. And it's a great thing to bring Amy Ellikin and Katie Stewart and being able to, go across the aisle. That speaks volumes on an organization. And to be able to, in this stage in our political climate, to get bipartisan anything is impressive.
Yep.
I mean, that's impressive.
Well, and there's so many things out there that, we aren't aware of. Another example, we go to lobby days up in Springfield. We were just up there a couple of weeks ago. There were about eight or nine of us that went up, and we spent the whole day talking to our representatives, talking to senators at the state capitol, saying, look, here's the things that are important to this industry, and it ultimately has a direct impact on consumers because it keeps housing affordable. Another example of a bill would be SB 40. It's another bill that has been signed into law, and we fought and got some amendments to it so it was more affordable for consumers to buy their home. And it had to do with electric charging stations. And, we were able to get it modified so the expense wasn't going to be as much. And we're out there behind the scenes. We're out there in the front too, but we're really working hard behind the scenes at the local, state, and national level to make sure that things stay in line the way they need to so they don't have a negative impact that's long-lasting in our housing industry.
This is absolutely phenomenal, and I can't thank you enough for calling it. I have a few more questions. It might take a little bit longer than I told you, but this is really fascinating to me. I want to get your insights really briefly on just, you hit on it a little bit earlier, but just to segue fully into it now. What's your kind of gauge in your position on, the support that you guys receive, the industry receives from our local, political leaders and, legislators?
I'm going to say it's amazing because there aren't a lot of things in today's climate, as you said earlier, that are bipartisan, that you can reach across the aisles and you can get Republicans and Democrats and independents all working together. And we get support from many of them, whether they're Democrat, Republican, or independent. And there's some that are very supportive. Senator Jason Plummer, he is a cheerleader for the Home Builders Remodelers Association. Katie Stewart, as I mentioned, she, there are several things that we can align with her on. Amy Ellick, but they're very open and receptive to hear what we say because they're not the experts in the home building industry. The people that own the companies, the people that are out there working in the trenches, the people that are out there dealing with all the regulations and the things that come down the pipeline, they're the experts. So they're eager to listen to our membership to hear what they have to say about things that are going to impact the industry, which ultimately impacts the consumers who are their voters. And they want, so that's a positive thing, because not everybody can say that they have a voice or are heard, but we truly are. I think at the lobby day in Springfield, if I'm remembering correctly, we had 7 representatives and senators stop by in an hour window in a meeting we were having. They came to us and said, what's going on? Here's what we'd like to update you on. What can you update us on? So that's an unusual component, has been my experience in the political environment, but it's very refreshing that they are supportive and want to hear what we have to say.
Well, you're absolutely right, and it's very refreshing on my end to know that, because to me, it's we perceive a lot of times, I think, as the public, that political leaders don't take into account, the actual individual that's doing the act, that's working the industry, that really knows it. But to know that they're using you as a resource and to really make this, beneficial for the consumer and for the, and for the supplier is really just essentially just something great to hear. And I got to ask you, Shannon, how long have you been with the organization?
Okay, don't laugh. I've been here 7 weeks.
What? Okay, that's amazing.
I've been here 7 weeks, but I'm extremely passionate about what this organization stands for and what they're doing. I've known of the organization and had involvement with it for years through different chamber functions and other things across my business career. But in the actual position as executive officer, it's been about 7 weeks. But I've learned a lot in that 7 weeks. I've been involved in a lot already, and I'm extremely passionate about the goals that we have and the things we're trying to accomplish.
Well, I'll say this. I would have never thought you would have been 7 weeks into this role. I mean, I don't know if it's, just how passionate you are. All I can tell you is you sounded like you've been doing this for, 30 years and this is just something it's like second nature. In the 7 weeks, Shannon, I got to ask you, was there something that really opened your eyes going, wow, this organization was more important or more influential than I even thought it was?
When we went to Lobby Day 3 weeks ago, I think that was a very big eye-opener. It was my first interaction directly live in a group setting with the politicians. I had many phone calls in those first few weeks, and I had a lot of emails. But to see the true meaning that they truly want to hear what we had to say, right. That was, it helped fire my passion even more, because I think people get very discouraged easily, and I think they get very frustrated with our political situation in today's world. And, the moral of the lesson that I walked away from that lobby day was we can't ever give up. Our voice is important. Our message is important. And no matter what the topic is, one of the little things that I've learned recently is witness slips. Anybody can go on and fill a witness slip out about a particular bill or an amendment to a bill that they're either opposed to or support. And it takes less than 3 minutes. And you can go online, right on the website. It literally takes less than 3 minutes. You put your name, your address, your phone number, and you say, I'm opposed or I support this. And you can do it as an individual or on behalf of an organization. And we do have the ability to have a voice out there if we take the effort, spend the time, and we reach out and we read and we talk to people. So I think that was probably, to answer your question in a long answer, that was probably, one of the biggest eye-openers so far. They really do want to hear what we have to say. And I don't think the GQ public, which I was 7 weeks ago, I don't know that I really believe they really wanted to hear what we had to say, but they do. And that excites me, and it tells me that there's so much potential and opportunity for positive things to happen, both within the state of Illinois and across this country.
You're absolutely right. And just to hear that, though, is really refreshing for me, from my standpoint, because I'm right there with you 7 weeks ago. I kind of just assumed that was the case, but to really know that there's organizations like what you guys are doing and so many others that are really, making sure that, we're still being heard, that you guys are still being heard and protected. It's really great to hear. Now, we have a couple of minutes left, Shannon. Let me ask you, how can we become a part of, let's say we are a plumber or, mortgage, we're meet the qualifiers. How can we be a part of this association, which to me is a no-brainer?
Yeah, so they need to reach out to the office. They can email me at eo@hbrmea.org. They can go on our website, or they can call the HBR office locally. We do have a vetting process. We review every application that comes in for membership. It goes before our board of directors for approval, and then they get to benefit from all the benefits that are seen and many that aren't seen. There is a fee to join the association, just like there is any association, but I tell people when they talk to me about it's like an insurance policy. We're here when you don't even know you need us. We're out there fighting for you for this industry. There's all kinds of benefits available at the national level to our members, and then there's benefits available at the local level, things that if you're not part of the HBA, you can't participate in or you may not get to do. So it's a wonderful organization that really is here. My whole job is to support all of our members in this association and continue to fight for them. So they can call 618-343-6331 again, or email at eo@hbrmea.org.
This is just incredible. And Shannon, I know you mentioned earlier in the conversation we were having about some of your, I heard maybe a meetup thing. Do you guys do events similar to that where if someone wants to learn more, how can we stay up to date on that information?
Well, if they go to our website, everything is up to date on there, and some of our social events. For example, Friday this week, we have a sport clay shoot at Nilo Farms, and it's open to the public to participate. We have some gentlemen actually coming from Cape Girardeau, Missouri, who have nothing to do with our organization that heard about the event. They called me and said, we have a team that would like to come and shoot in the sport shoot. So we have that. We have a golf tournament coming up in July. There's all kinds of different events that people can participate in, both public and members. So it's a way that they can learn more about our organization, and just stay on our website and follow what's happening, and they'll learn all the things that they need to know.
This is just incredible. Shannon, I told you 10 to 15, and we're going 20 minutes because I just think you guys are wonderful. This has been a really insightful conversation, and my only other question for you right now is if there's anything else that's important, any bills being passed or getting looked at that's newsy, or you want to get out any more information about upcoming events and socials, please come back.
Absolutely will. There is one today that's being voted on at 3 o'clock. It's SB 837. And if you go to the hearing notice for state government, to that website, you can actually put in a voting slip, a witness slip to say that you oppose the bill. It's more regulations that are trying to be passed where basically gives manufacturers in China a leg up over manufacturers in the U.S. of flooring products. And it's going to be costly to the consumer if this bill is passed. So we are opposed to it as an organization, and we encourage everyone. SB 837, it's voted on at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
And we'll make sure we throw that information in the on-demand interview of this show. So when it's out at 11:30 today, people that want to stay up to date on that can do so. Shannon,
absolutely, CJ.
I really appreciate your time. Please come back whenever you'd like to, and have a great rest of your Wednesday.
All right. Thanks so much. And tell all your listeners I appreciate their support of the HBR as well.
Absolutely. At 9:39 on this 10th day of May, Shannon Stelling, thank you so much for your time. We'll be back with more of our daily show after this.